And we are. What's going on, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls? We're talking Week 15, main slate, DraftKings, NFL DFS. The season is rolling. I'm sure we got a lot of people in their fantasy football playoffs these days, but we are ready to break it down. And as per usual, we'll be back on Sunday to make any must-needed adjustments.
Yeah, can't wait to break the slate down with you. Just got done with our members-only video. I was thinking about, why it's so exciting to make these NBA videos because it's only the preseason. I think I finally put my finger on it. It's that the NFL is amazing. It's the top sport, but when we break them down, the slate isn't tonight. It's Sunday, so it's different when we do the NBA preseason. Do you agree?
Because you get to play right then.
Yes.
Yeah, a little bit. That's the gambling addict inside each and every one of us, right?
Exactly. That's all it is.
I was trying to explain to a lady friend of mine a while ago when she was talking about going to the casino and the intensity and the addiction that I used to feel being a blackjack player. I'd get into the casino and I would be pushing old ladies out of the way trying to get to the blackjack table to throw down a few hundies. And I mean, that was just in high school. It is real when you want to get into this stuff. It's a rush.
Yeah, no doubt about it. So I was just thinking about that. I'm obviously pumped to make this video with you as well, though.
All right, man. Before we get into the ins and the outs of Week 15 of DraftKings NFL DFS slate, guys, there's another site y'all should be playing on. It goes by the name of OverlayDFS.com. If you are catching this live right now on Tuesday, we got Simmons versus Embiid in the matchup shop. Go sign up and play. You're getting 5 points to bet on Ben Simmons. And I think the big thing right there is, guys, we expect Simmons to play a couple extra minutes over Joel Embiid because it is the preseason. That's the kind of matchups you get in there. They're fun. If you make that initial deposit, send me a screenshot of your initial deposit so I can hook you up with a free 5-pack membership.
Let's get it.
All right, guys. And as far as 5-pack promotions, what a time to be alive, ladies and gentlemen. We got NFL, we got NBA. A lifetime membership covers all three sports permanently moving forward. It is retailed at $400, but for this week, we'll be running a 25% off sale, a $300 one-time payment, no future payments. We're talking baseball, basketball, football, videos, write-ups, lineup help, and everything like that, all included with that one-time payment.
Cannot beat it.
If you use the website, it's a reimbursement. Otherwise, we got the PayPal and Venmo addresses below. Subscribe to the station if you're new to it. Thumbs up is always appreciated. Let's talk about the quarterback position. So it's not as strong as normal this week. And, Russ is slowed down. Rodgers isn't on it. Mahomes in a tough one. But check out Lamar Jackson. I'm going to ask you a question, Mr. Bellman. What do you think his ownership comes out in this week?
Around 10%.
Okay. It's not very high. And Lamar, the last couple games, is looking more like the dude that won the MVP last year. He's running. We all know that Jags' defense is a giant turd sandwich, so there's nothing too scary about that one. I think he'll be relatively low owned. I wouldn't be surprised to see him sneak down into the single digits. And most importantly, guys, he's running. He is running. He is running. You saw the upside last night with 100 yards and 2 touchdowns. No reason he couldn't do this again against a lowly Jags team for a Baltimore that needs a win.
Yeah, so part of the reason I wanted to talk about Lamar here is I don't think quarterback is that strong. You obviously got the big dog Mahomes who's in play no matter who he's playing because it's Patrick Mahomes. After that, though, it does seem like, and we talked about this on the members-only video, that spending down on QB is a very likely roster build. So I know that either of us or both of us might not actually land on Lamar when all is said and done, but I know that we both like him. And if we had to pick one quarterback on this slate that we thought was going to score the most points, at least for me, it's Lamar Jackson. We saw him really start to play well last week against Dallas, carried that over last night into that big Monday night win against the Browns. Tough loss for the Browns, but what a game. And the Ravens are feeling themselves right now. I would be surprised if they didn't roll here. I don't think they're going to win by 5 or 6 touchdowns, but I think they win handily. I think they're 2 touchdown favorites here. I think you see Lamar do more Lamar things here, what he's been doing. I just think you see more of it, and Jacksonville certainly isn't scaring me at all.
You're not scared of Jacksonville. Shocking. That's a hot take. You've ever heard one, right?
Not at all.
All right, next up, Cam Akers. So we're going to go from a guy that we think is a little bit lower owned, somebody you might want to target on the GPP structure, to a guy that for me is just a cash game lock right now, and that is Mr. Cam Akers. If you watched the game on Thursday, he chewed up the New England Patriots and spit them out. I think he had 140 touches or something like that. It was just absolutely he's the guy now. And I think here's my question for you. Do you think this is a byproduct of Sean McVay buying in, or do you think this was the plan all along to keep him for the latter portion of the season? Because this might be the freshest, top tier running back available to you guys right now. Because a lot of these other guys, guys like Dalvin Cook, for example, they've been eating carries all season long. This dude's got maybe 100 touches on the season.
It's a great point. Great question. I don't know the answer. I don't think McVay is that smart, but I don't put it past him either. I mean, listen, it's a great point. The Rams had no reason to kind of pound him and punish him early with Darrell Henderson and Malcolm Brown. He is fresh right now, and this is a leg up that they could have on the rest of the field. I remember when we talked about, before the season started, a couple sleepers that we had, or dark horse candidates. I remember, picking the Steelers and the Rams, and I'm not so confident in the Steelers anymore, but I'm very confident in the Rams. I think that, outside of the Saints and probably Green Bay, they're right there as potentially the best team in the NFC, and I think they could beat those other teams that are probably slightly better than them.
Yeah, I remember talking sleepers. Mine were Arizona and Buffalo. I'm feeling pretty good about Buffalo right now as being potentially the number 2 seed or the second best team in the AFC. Not feeling so good about Arizona, though. They're still a little year or 2 year out. So this Akers kid's good. And sometimes we underrate the importance of that at the running back position. We think guys can just plug and play in. This guy can run the football. Now, I will say, the Jets are actually a very good team against the run, but the Rams are also stubborn. Once they get a lead, and this is a game where they're going to get a lead, because I won't call for a shutout, but what do you project the Jets to score this week? 6 maybe?
I don't project them to score very many. It's the NFL, so anything can happen. You get free plays and all that stuff. But I don't see them outside of that being able to score that many points,
All right, we're back now. Yeah, you can't project them to score too many points. I put it this way. If the over-under on touchdown total was 1, I'd be more likely to bet the under than the over.
I don't know if I agree with you, but I got no argument.
Yeah, the Rams defense is good, and the Jets are terrible. They got nothing to play for. So this is just a spot where you think Akers could easily see another 25-touch game.
No doubt.
All right, moving along down the list, running back number 2, cover boy of the week, Alvin Kamara. So I think a big part of this, too, is Drew Brees back this week? Is Drew Brees back? No, is Drew Brees back? Say that 5 times fast. We don't know yet. I expect him to play, but I could easily be wrong. I've been wrong before. I'll be wrong again. Alvin Kamara is pretty cheap for what he potentially offers to you this week. This is a big game for the Saints, too, right? You don't want to keep, losing games. You kind of got embarrassed last week. Now you are gathering the troops and getting ready to play the best team in the NFL right now. This is a dome game in December. I like him better if Brees plays, but I'm not saying he's off the table if it's Taysom Hill. You can run on Kansas City. To me, this is the kind of game where Kamara could actually see 20 to 25 touches.
Yeah, there's a lot to like here, and I agree with you. The Saints don't want to find themselves all of a sudden in a rut, because they got caught looking ahead last week to this week. It's a big game for them. Potentially, maybe, presumably the best team in the NFC going against definitely the best team in all of football. Expect their team's best efforts here. New Orleans is going to get the ball in their best players' hands. A lot of Kamara, a lot of Michael Thomas. You love seeing him have 10 targets last week. And he's just better than a $7,400 player, right? His upside's always higher than this. And in a spot where you expect, the Saints to play their best ball, it's hard to get away from him at that price, man.
He doesn't always get enough touches to warrant the big price tag. But if there was a week for him to get 5 extra, wouldn't this be it? Not saying he will, but if you're looking for an extra reason to play him, I could see him getting a couple extra touches this week. Latavius Murray is no scrub, but this is your best player right now. Drew Brees has seen better days. Thomas has been in and out of the lineup. This is your best player. Get him the rock on Sunday. You don't want to lose 2 in a row. And if that happens, all of a sudden you have to start worrying about seeding a little bit more, because now you've lost 4 games at that point, and you go from being the number 1 seed to potentially maybe even dropping out of the 2.
Yep.
And if you're New Orleans, you want and need to play at home.
No doubt about that.
Even in a COVID year. All right, next up, there's a guy from San Francisco that I really, really want on my roster this week. And on a sad note, the world has lost 2 Debos this week. And if you get that, you know what I'm talking about. The Dallas D is less than stellar. He's part of a crop of young wide receivers, kind of just having a great season for the NFL. 19.7 or more in 5 straight games. And knowing that Brandon was on the short list of the Packers draft schedule this year, or what they wanted, and that we didn't get it. Like, I hate watching him play so well because he would look damn fine in green and gold.
Yeah, man, he looks good right now. No Debo, and you mentioned on the members only video, he was playing well with Debo. Without Debo, certainly it doesn't hurt him here. Very affordable, 6,300. Don't use this term. Haven't used this term as much recently, but he's definitely the cog in the machine, man, in all formats. Priced very affordably, being productive. What's not to like?
I don't know. I wonder if he goes under the radar this week, too. What do you think?
I don't know about under the radar, but I don't expect him to be like supreme chalk. I mean, he's not like a sexy play.
No,
But
this is another one. This is like a good place to play right now, too. In Dallas, like no weather issues, fast track, bad defense, fair price tag. This one works for me in all angles.
I hate saying this, but I agree, and you're right.
All right, last up, Lynn Bowden Jr. So as we went through the building, like the optimum type of builds on the members only video, just paying down at wide receiver this week is something that could be logical. And Bowden now has 9 targets last week as they lost Parker in that game. He was 4 for 4 the week before. And the Dolphins are just off right now with their skill position guys. Gaskin's out. Ahmed's questionable again. Parker's questionable. Grant's questionable. Williams is on the IR. Gesicki, who I forgot to even add in there, is not going to be there. Like, they need to get the ball to some guys. They need this W, and he might be one of the only guys left for him.
So this is definitely one that might change, over the weekend. It's only Tuesday. If the Dolphins all of a sudden find themselves in a really healthy spot, all these guys coming back, probably wouldn't look here even at this price point. However, assuming that at least a couple of these guys miss, and I think that's a fair assumption, there's a lot to like here. This guy was really productive in college, did a lot everywhere, like I said, very productive. Got drafted by the Raiders, but then traded right after minicamp. And now it seems like Miami is really finding ways to get him involved. You mentioned he's seen 13 targets over the past couple weeks. He actually saw a few running opportunities a couple weeks ago. And, with Miami missing running backs, wide receivers, they're going to do what they can to get him and other guys like him the ball. At this price point, the upside's real. It's definitely risky because, guys like this have a extremely low floor, right? Because if he had 2 catches for 20 yards, I don't think anyone would be shocked. But it only takes these guys on the flip side of that one play to really go off. At this price point, his upside's real. I think you'll see New England. I'm not sure. This is a question I wanted to ask you. We always talk about New England taking away, what the other team wants to do. What are they going to take away here?
I don't think I know. Well, I know I don't know. I don't think they know because is Parker playing? Who knows? He has a mild hamstring issue. That's definitely questionable. Gaskin's out. Tua's a little bit of an unknown. We seem to have had good games and bad games. I mean, I don't think that they're, Lynn Bowden Jr. is their priority to take him away. But, I mean, who's healthy? I mean, no Gesicki probably, potentially no Parker, Jakeem Grant. We've got a lot of injuries to wait on still.
Actually, very impressed that they, played Kansas City so close. I know that a lot of that was their defense and KC not playing well. But I'm thinking about this, and that's why I wanted to ask you, they don't even have a part of their offense right now that New England needs to worry about. So I'm not sure. I'm interested to see the answer to that question, especially with so many guys out. I think that only helps Bowden. Again, I assume that a couple of these guys are going to miss, but just stay tuned.
Yeah, most definitely. I'm almost for certain they're going to be without at least 1 or 2 of these guys. They seem like a little bit more significant injuries, so they should be down some players. And even as much as you might not think he's a lock, even though he's your pick, there's a potential scenario where he has 10 targets this week.
Yeah, there is. And I like him a lot. I just don't want to get on here and say that's a guarantee that he's going to see all those targets because we both know that's not true. That being said, at this price point, I know he's more expensive than he was last week, but he's still under 4K, and that's really all you can ask for.
Right. I mean, if Ahmed is out and we know Gaskin is out and they can't run the ball worth a darn, I mean, they're going to have to get a little bit creative on this. And Miami can't afford to lose a lot of games either. The AFC's tight.
That's the other reason why I like Bowden. This is a guy that played quarterback at Kentucky. He did a lot of things. So you mentioned Miami, trying to get creative. This is the perfect guy to do it with.
Right. I mean, you saw it with your boy Jarvis Landry last night. Now, I know that only ended up being less than 1 DK point on the 15-yard pass, but I mean, having little things in your back pocket like that, where you got a wide receiver pass like that. I mean, it's something, right? Like a 25-yard touchdown pass is 5 points. You're halfway to value.
Like, this was a guy, and you know that feeling, like, when I used him last week, you know, it was a crapshoot, certainly didn't lock him in everywhere and only used him when I needed the salary. But when I was watching some of that game and I saw he was on the field, I felt good because I knew that, like, with him on the field, they were going to try to get him the ball. He's an athlete.
Absolutely, guys, and they don't have a lot of them left anymore in Miami. So, and I just want to say, Miami is one of those teams. Like, I have a lot of respect for what they're building over there. They're
Yes.
still at least a year out from being super competitive in the AFC, but they get a lot without a lot, and they're well coached. Easily, you can see Flores as coach of the year. I mean, I really, really enjoy what Miami has done over the last season and a half, and I got a ton of respect for them. I was not going to be surprised if they beat the Chiefs last week, and just, you know, with all the injuries piling up, it just made it harder and harder. Once Gaskin was out, I definitely cooled my jets on that one, but we'll see. A full strength Miami will give people issues.
I think you could definitely make a case for what was I? Oh man, it's slipped my head. I think Miami's just really good, right? I think that man, I wonder. I was going to ask, do you think they're going to make the playoffs?
Yes.
It's funny in the AFC, all these teams to be outside Kansas City, and we've talked about this: Baltimore, Cleveland, Pittsburgh, Tennessee. And Buffalo and Miami. They're all very similar to me. I think any of those teams can win on any given day.
I heard a great breakdown on Buffalo today about just like the behind the scenes stats as far as, like, you know, first downs per game and stuff like that. Like, Buffalo to me is the second best team in the AFC right now.
I don't disagree with that at all. My one holdup with Buffalo is they can't run the ball really. So I don't know if that's going to end up biting them in the butt in the playoffs. But I don't disagree that right now they look like the second best team.
Definitely, guys. And Buffalo's one of those teams you kind of root for because they were just so irrelevant for so long.
For sure.
So that's it, guys. That's what we got for Week 15. We will hit you with some follow-up stuff Sunday morning. We will continue to rock some NBA preseason until next week when the NBA regular season shows up and makes us all happy as a clan.
Thanks, guys.